Tools for improvement. Tools for improvement.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests. I remember it like it was yesterday. We were doing the things that normal college kids do. It was me, a couple of my friends. We went out the night before, it was a Friday, taking shots. You know, having a good time, having a great time. That was a great time for me and my friends to get wasted and not really remember what we did the night before. And I remember I got a phone call in the morning. I had a hangover from another planet. And my head was hurting so bad, I had to think twice if I really wanted to answer the phone. But it was one of my best friends. And I knew if she was calling me at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, it had to be important. So I answered. She was crying on the other line. So I was like, "What's wrong, Ebony?" And she says, "He's gone." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" "He's gone. Marcus, he's gone." What she was talking about was one of my best friends. We grew up together. Actually, in college, we roomed together. We did all the crazy things together. And he was gone just like that. He was in the Navy. He was in a car crash. And when she said that, something hit me. Because he died because he was drunk behind the wheel. And the night before, me and my friends, we were doing the same thing. So I realized that I had to do something about my life. I had to change what I was doing because I didn't want to end up like my friend. And I remember being at his funeral and his mom was sobbing and crying, and it was so sad to me because I was just thinking, if I was in Florida with Marcus, I would have been in the same car with Marcus, doing the same thing with Marcus. So I knew I made a decision that day to change. And just like that, things started to happen in my life, and I had important people come into my life, and they started introducing me to certain books, and they pushed certain tapes in front of me that when I started listening to it, it immediately had an impact on my life and the way I perceive life. So, tools for improvement, I started improving who I was. Like my mentor Jim Rohn says, work on yourself more than you work on your job. So I started picking up different things, and one thing that I recently picked up was a counter. And I'm pretty sure you guys remember about 3 speeches ago when I was talking about me being behind the wheel and looking like the crazy person, yelling out affirmations and positive incantations, and the people beside me looking at me like, "What have you been drinking on a Monday morning looking like that?" So here's what I do with the counter. Every day, since we live in such a negative world, and they say about 70% of our thoughts are negative anyway, I decided that this is what I was going to do. I was going to do about 1,000 incantations or affirmations a day just to keep myself positive. So here's what I do. I count it with this just so I don't lie to myself. And that sounds like it's 1,000 and go to sleep. So I count it up. And as you see today, I'm at 222, so I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of work to do. But I got a couple hours where I can get that in. So a counter is very important because it keeps me positive. When I have a negative experience, I go in the car. That's my favorite place now, in the car. And I say positive things because, like one of my mentors says, George Zalaki, the mind creates a heaven or a hell, or a hell of a heaven. So whatever you plant in here will manifest out there. So I plant positive things in here. And the second thing that I picked up was a journal. I didn't really do this in college. I'd rather get wasted. I'd rather go to class and leave class like, what did we just learn? But now, I record things that I experience in my daily life. Like this one, I call it my Bible journal. So I read the Bible consistently, and everything that I learn, I try to take notes and I put it in here. And I call this one my goals and dreams journal. And everything that I experience and all my goals, I write them in here. And the person that I want to be, I write it in here. But more importantly, is my planet. Because what I learned was, you're going to blink and the next thing you're going to be is 25. Then after you're 25, the next thing you're going to blink, you're going to be 30. Then after 30, it's not even 35, it's 40. Then after 40, it's 50. So here's what I decided to do. I decided to be more deliberate and more intentional about my days. So I started planning my days a little bit better. So a person introduced me to a thing called a billionaire DMO, where you wake up in the morning and you work out, then you read, then you eat well, and you drink a lot of water. So here's what I do. I wake up at 4 a.m. and I map out my whole day the night before, because Jim Rohn says, when is a house built? After it's finished. So when should your day start? After you finish it. So I finished my day the night before I started, so that my subconscious mind, when I sleep, plans my day without me even knowing it. So here's what I would say to you. You know, just like me, I've had experiences that changed me for who I am and making me a better person every single day. You know, look back at some experiences in your life that were possibly negative that you could make them into a positive. So with that being said, Mr. Toastmaster,